I ever since our last meeting about no doership, I have been just kind of like rolling, contemplating, and I mean, is there no doership at all, even God or love or something doing at all? I mean, I can't imagine that.
It's a very, very good question. Why do we need to feel that there's something doing something? This is a very serious, genuine question. Why do we need to feel that there's something doing something? And who needs to feel that? You
I
see, it
guess,
has to be ego that needs that to have some, it's called the known. Krishnamurti speaks about freedom from the known. So freedom from the known means I don't know anything. I only know that what is. Why it's here, I don't know. Where it came from, I don't know. Who created it, I don't know. I'm free from the known. That's the known. And so when we come to a moment in a holiday or in our work together that we see that this moment can't be any different than it is and that there's no one here creating it, then ego will still come in and say, okay, I see that I didn't create it. Great. But who did?
yeah, that's who did.
And that's still ego
Yeah.
wanting to be in the known because the ego is the known. And when if that question goes, it's the end of ego also. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, from the time I was pretty young, like third or fourth grade, I used to say, I want to know everything. And until I know everything, I can't know anything.
Okay.
I want to know everything, but I guess you're right. Maybe there's just no knowing anything.
Knowledge is only of the mind. The real knowing is everything. In this moment, everything is known that needs to be known. Everything is known. If something technical needs to be known, then the mind will figure that out. But these questions about where did I come from? What's the meaning of life? Why am I here? And if I'm not creating anything, who is? This is the known. This is ego.
So
So,
just have to give it all up.
excuse me?
Just have to give all those questions up.
Well, you can't just give them up. So I will say those questions, the question, if I'm not creating anything, then who is? Is it answerable?
Well, the only thing I could think of is it's got to be something greater that's benevolent in some way, God or
What
love or
where did that idea come from? The word God and greater than is not your idea, is it? I'm getting to something here, but let's take it slowly. The word God is not your idea, is it?
I don't know where I first got the idea of
Well,
God.
it's not your idea. It came from religion, obviously, right? So what if that whole concept of God doesn't exist right now? Just be on a holiday now with no concept of God, then the question doesn't even appear.
Right?
You see what I'm saying?
And you don't think it might appear to a person, say they were just on a desert island and never heard of God? You
No,
don't think it
no.
appeared?
They might have, they might, if because of the feeling of separation, they might start wondering, you know, about things, of course, possibly. But that God is not a question. God is an answer, and that answer was given to you. God isn't a question. God is an answer that was created to the insecure mind that couldn't stand being in the unknown. So it created an answer. I can't stand being in the unknown. So it creates something called God, and then God is the answer to the question. You see, it's not the question.
Right.
So now, what if this answer goes away, like now? Then what's left? What's left is no one here that needs that answer. So then my question always is, can you just be nothing and not know those things? Can you just simply be this moment? This is the biggest question. This is the full shift. Can you just be this moment with no answers? It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer me, but you see what I'm saying?
Yes. And
And
then it
can,
seems
I'm
freedom
sorry.
is a moot point. Like freedom or non-freedom is a moot point also.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But for the purpose of coming to this recognition, we speak in that way, because there's no one here to be free or not free either.
It kind of tickles me to think that way. I mean, that what you just did, it feels kind of like going on a ride, roller coaster ride, and you're just going to go along for the ride.
Yeah, well, isn't that actually how life is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the one here who thinks it knows something, and the one here who thinks it's in control, but for that erroneous, I say, concept, but for that, if that's not there, then isn't life just a ride with no driver?
You're not in control of the roller coaster ride. You just gone on it.
Yes, but I say even more succinctly, there's no one here to be in control.
No one.
No, there's no one here to be in control. But when fear and insecurity appears in a mind that feels separated, then the need for understanding and knowledge and control appears, doesn't it? But when you know freedom, then that really know freedom, and you know freedom, but and you like in this moment, that need isn't here.
I don't know freedom. I still feel like I don't know freedom like you know freedom.
Well, you do, but you have to live it more. That's all. You have to keep living it. You have to keep speaking to me like this, and I keep trying to chisel away these ideas that, but I want you to see what that idea is. What is that idea? Okay, if I'm not the doer, then who is?
Right.
That's just an insecurity of ego saying I still want some control, even the control of knowing that there's someone taking care of me, even that amount of control. That's still ego. Wants someone to looking wants to have someone in control looking after everything.
Right.
But in this moment now, when there is no ego, then that whole movement has no validity at all. And then there's nothing.
There's been a handful of times in my life when I've had what I call lucid dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, it seems like I have a choice to change the dream or
Yeah.
just almost always I just watch it because I'm not in, that character I don't longer identify with. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to watch it till
Why
I
don't you
wake up.
be like that now in the waking state also?
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So I just put this message into you now, as we just spoke about, and just don't do anything about it. Keep having holidays, keep being in the unknown, which I say is the true knowing. The true knowing isn't knowing why anything is here, where it came from, where it's going, who's in control, what about God. That's not, that is knowledge based on fear and ignorance. The true knowing is this unknowing, the unknown, pure knowing being. The true intelligence, real intelligence, isn't I know what God is. That's not intelligence. The true intelligence is pure knowing, the intelligence of life itself.
I like it. I mean, it makes me want to giggle inside. So why not giggle and be
That's good.
happy?
Why not? Yeah, giggle. That's great. It's a very
Thank
good
you.
question, Susan. That's why God was invented, because of fear and insecurity, which is understandable because when we start taking a birth of self when we're young, even though we don't notice at first, immediately there's something wrong because we're separated. And we don't notice that there's something wrong, but as we get older, we sort of more and more feel there's something is wrong, even if we're not consciously aware of it. That's why there's seeking for everything, seeking in the world of form for money, fame, success, acclaim, love, companionship. And then they're seeking in the spiritual world for God, transcendence, spiritual experiences, because something seems wrong here. Something is lacking. And so when something is lacking and and we have fear, then we invent something called God looking over us, and then we feel some comfort. Well, I'm sorry, I don't offer comfort here. I offer the true comfort, the comfort of not needing those things, not needing where I came from, why I'm here, what's the meaning of life, and is there a God? Not needing any of that is the true comfort. Comfort of just being. But it's new for you. You're not long with this work yet. You're great. You're here. You're doing it. It's wonderful. And I would recommend if you're inclined to keep doing the work, that we're doing together. Keep living freedom. And keep talking to me, keep talking to me. That shows authenticity also.
I love that we can ask anything we want. I'd
Yeah,
really love that.
you can. You can. What would it be like to not need any of those answers? Rhetorical question. What would it be like to not need any of those questions? It would just be the movement of life. And I am that. I am that. And the truth is, we never get an answer to those questions. Why am I here? Has never been answered, ever. In all the great philosophy books throughout history, it's never been answered. Where am I going? It's never been answered other than an idea, nirvana in heaven or hell or whatever. If it's hell, then I'm probably going there, but that's never been answered either. What's the meaning of life has never been answered. Is there a God or isn't there has never been answered. There's a reason that they've never been answered. It's because they're false questions. They aren't real questions. And there is no truth to those questions, so there can never be an answer to them. They're all created out of fear. Why am I here? Fear. What's the meaning of my life? Fear. Where am I going? Fear. Is there a God? Fear. It's all based on fear. So what if you don't need those questions anymore? That means you're free of fear, and then you know the true comfort, the true safety. You're doing great. Everyone here you guys, not a small thing that's going on with our work together. And so what we do here with our work, we start off with an intensive coming to know our essential being that's free. We come to know that. And then we see how valuable it is, this knowing. We come to see that this is the real stability. The things of the objects of life are not stable because they can all go. Our ideas of God are not stable because it can all go. The real stability is in our essential being.
And you're saying that when you say you're doubtless, that will grow in me too if I just keep living this.
Yes, absolutely.
don't have to worry about being doubtless.
Many people I've worked with are doubtless,
I
and
feel like I don't want to fool myself. I don't want to.
you won't fool yourself. You can't fool yourself. Don't worry about it being doubtless. Don't worry about that at all. I don't want to make that a goal. Believe me, I'm not making that a goal. Let's have a holiday right now, everyone. Here and now, you recognize you are here and now. Haven't you all this knowing being which you recognize now? Hasn't it always been here your whole life? Is that true? There's only now, right? In this moment, this you as you are now, all of the billion things that happened in your life so far, what are they here? Do they have any effect over you right this moment? I mean, just this moment now? Aren't you free now? You sound pretty doubtless to me. Call me crazy, but you sound pretty doubtless. So do you know when you're going to be doubtless, Susan? Now.
I
Now.
am now. Yes, now
That's
I'm
all
down.
there is. Freedom is only ever always now. So if you just keep this recognition and don't hold on to anything and don't worry if tomorrow you forget it, doesn't matter. You just keep sticking around and doing this and again recognize this. And then it'll be like, oh yeah, fuck that, man. But know your doubtlessness now always.
It's kind of like breathing. You know you're always breathing, but you don't really notice it except once if you choose to notice it or say, I'm going to hold my breath now or something.
Very, very good metaphor. I'm stealing it immediately.
You go about your life, you know you're breathing even though you don't think about it all the time.
That's perfect. Perfect metaphor. I'm stealing it. I'll give you credit every time I say it. That's exactly right. It's very good. Very good metaphor. And that's true, right, Susan? Isn't it? Isn't that true? I don't go around thinking I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. Fuck that, man. I'm too busy to start thinking I'm free. I have things to do. I have things to think about. I have things to do. I didn't have time to think I'm free.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said I leave this meeting, I never even think about it.
I
But I
don't.
guess you always know it's there if you want to think about it.
Yeah, of course. I don't have to have holidays, but it happens a lot, but not any need. It just, of course.
And sometimes we notice we're breathing if we happen to sit quietly and we just notice the breath is going in and out.
Absolutely. Same exact, same. That's a beautiful metaphor. I love that. That's great. Analogy, whatever it is. Analogy. Exactly right. And the more you stick around and do the work, the more that will happen naturally, Susan. That's why we don't do holidays. I don't say do a holiday. I don't say take a holiday. I say have a holiday. Even that's, I feel, is saying too much. So I prefer saying when a holiday happens, just know. And then again, be doubtless for a moment. That's all. No problem. After a while, you'll get tired of arguing and you'll say, okay, fuck it. I'm doubtless already. Leave me alone.
I literally feel like this is the best moment of my life so far.
Oh, that's wonderful. It is.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Susan. Wonderful. That's great. You're gonna make me cry now too.
I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Me too. I'm grateful too. Thank you.